Welcome to my channel. Here, captivating introductions are our specialty. Today, let's step back in time to a world of intrigue, power, and romance. Imagine the banks of the Nile bathed in golden sunlight, the whispers of intrigue drifting through marble-pillared halls, and a single enigmatic queen whose very name still conjures images of power, passion, and drama. Cleopatra VII, history's most iconic queen. A woman whose intelligence, charisma, and ambition shaped empires and seduced the world's greatest men. But beyond the Hollywood glamour and legendary romances, who was the real Cleopatra? Was she the cunning seductress immortalized by Shakespeare and cinema, or a visionary leader battling to save her people and her legacy? Join us as we peel back the centuries and myths, delving into the remarkable story of Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt. From her royal upbringing to her tragic end, from her mastery of politics to her enduring image. This is the untold, enthralling saga of a queen who refused to be forgotten. Are you captivated by the enigma of Cleopatra? Do you feel intrigued by the tales of her romance with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony? Has her tragic story sparked your curiosity? If you're as fascinated by her life as we are, then show your support so that we can bring you more stories of history's most intriguing figures. Your support means everything to us. So let's continue this journey through time together. Now let's delve deeper into the life of Cleopatra, a true icon of history. The world Cleopatra inherited. Cleopatra VII, Philopator, was born in 69 BCE to the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek family that had ruled Egypt since the days of Alexander the Great. The Egypt of Cleopatra's youth was a land of dazzling wealth and deep turmoil, a melting pot of cultures and a kingdom teetering on the edge of Roman domination. The Ptolemies, while rulers of Egypt, were outsiders in many respects. They kept Greek as their court language and often viewed their Egyptian subjects as separate. Yet Cleopatra was different. She was the first of her line to truly embrace Egyptian culture, learning the language and presenting herself as the reincarnation of the goddess Isis. This cultural adaptability would become one of her most powerful tools in the quest for survival and sovereignty. A queen ascends. The early reign. After the death of her father, Ptolemy XIII, in 51 BCE, Cleopatra co-ruled with her brother Ptolemy XIII, as was the custom. But the partnership quickly soured. Court intrigue, sibling rivalry, and the ever-present threat of Roman intervention set the stage for a dramatic struggle for Egypt's throne. Cleopatra's intelligence and political savvy became apparent early on. When she was forced into exile by her brother's advisors, she did not resign herself to defeat. Instead, she raised an army and sought the most powerful ally she could find, Julius Caesar. The legend begins. Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. The meeting between Cleopatra and Caesar is the stuff of legend. According to ancient sources, Cleopatra had herself smuggled into Caesar's quarters in a rolled-up carpet, a bold, theatrical gesture that immediately captured the Roman general's imagination. But Cleopatra was no mere seductress. She and Caesar shared a keen intellect and political ambition. Together, they defeated Ptolemy XIII's forces and restored Cleopatra to the throne. Their alliance was solidified by the birth of their son, Ptolemy XV, Philopator Philometor Caesar, known as Caesarion. This relationship with Caesar gave Cleopatra unprecedented influence in Rome, but it also made her a target. After Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE, Cleopatra needed a new protector. Enter Mark Antony, Caesar's friend and one of Rome's most powerful men. Their meeting in Tarsus was carefully orchestrated by Cleopatra, who arrived dressed as Aphrodite, goddess of love. Their partnership, both romantic and political, would change the course of history. Together they sought to carve out a new Eastern empire, with Egypt as its heart. Antony and Cleopatra's union produced 3 children and a powerful alliance, but it also ignited the ire of Rome. Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus, Caesar's heir, painted their relationship as a threat to Roman values. And so began the struggle to secure their hard-won kingdoms. As Octavian tightened his grip on Rome, Cleopatra and Mark Antony found themselves on the opposite side of a growing divide. The showdown was inevitable. In 32 BCE, Octavian's forces clashed with those of Antony and Cleopatra near the coast of Actium. The naval battle of Actium was a turning point. Although Antony and Cleopatra managed to escape, the die was cast. Octavian had the upper hand. Rather than face capture at the hands of Octavian, Cleopatra chose a different fate. Legend has it that when news of their impending doom reached her, she retreated to her tomb, taking her own life with a venomous snake bite. Mark Antony, believing the rumors of Cleopatra's death, took his own life as well. Legacy of a queen. The last pharaohs of Egypt met tragic ends, but their story doesn't end there. Octavian, now the undisputed master of the Roman world, seized control of Egypt. He established the province of Egypt, ushering in a new era in Egyptian history. Cleopatra's efforts to forge an independent Eastern empire may have failed, but her legacy lived on. Her image, often depicted with a crown and a cobra, became a symbol of Egypt throughout the centuries. Even in defeat, she had secured her place in history. Cleopatra's story wasn't just about power and romance. It was about the clash between cultures, the allure of the unknown, and the human drama that unfolds when gods and mortals collide. She remains an enigma, a timeless symbol of beauty and power whose story continues to captivate us millennia after her death. Now we want to hear from you. What fascinates you the most about Cleopatra? Is it her strategic brilliance, her tragic romance, or her enduring legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to subscribe for more captivating historical tales. And if you're eager for more captivating historical tales, stay tuned with us. We've got more stories of love, loss, and legendary figures waiting to be discovered. Thanks for joining us today. Until next time, keep exploring the past and keep coming back for more. Foremost historians believe that Cleopatra died by the bite of an asp, a type of venomous snake. However, this belief is based solely on the writings of Cleopatra's enemies. So could it be possible that Cleopatra faked her death? What if she didn't die at all? It might sound shocking, but there are quite a few reasons to think that Cleopatra never died. When it comes to talking about the history of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, the name that dominates the conversation is none other than Cleopatra. She was the last active pharaoh of the ancient Egyptian kingdom. And although her reign lasted less than a decade, her influence on history has endured for thousands of years. The legend of Cleopatra is a mixture of myth and reality, and many people still don't know much about her besides the fact that she died by letting an asp bite her. Well, today we are going to do our best to separate fact from fiction, to show you what new discoveries have revealed about the mysterious last queen of Egypt. But before we begin, let's take a moment to appreciate the efforts of the creators behind the scenes who make videos like these possible. The year is 31 BCE. The place is the coast of Greece near the city of Actium. The ships of Octavian, Mark Antony, and Cleopatra are locked in a deadly struggle. The result of this battle will decide the fate of not only Egypt, but also Rome itself. As the sun sets over the Ionian Sea, Antony's flagship, the Montes, is surrounded by Octavian's fleet. His soldiers are exhausted, their swords dulled by salt water and bloodshed. One by one, Antony's ships fall, their broken masts silhouetting against the crimson sky. Seeing defeat on the horizon, Antony falls on his sword, ending his own life rather than submit to Octavian. Beside him, his queen, Cleopatra, makes preparations of her own. Legend says she applied a touch of rouge to her lips, combed back her dark hair, adorned it with pearls and an elegant fillet. Then she sank her teeth into a pearl, releasing its poison into her veins. With dignity preserved, she joins her lover in death, refusing to be paraded in Rome as a captive. That is, if legend is to be believed. Because when it comes to Cleopatra, separating fact from fiction is no simple task. The tale of her demise is just one of many that have cemented her place in history. But what do we really know about her? How did she rise to power in the shadow of Rome? And why does her legend endure even now? Very little is known about Cleopatra's early life. Most of what we think we know comes from Roman sources written by her enemies, such as Plutarch's Life of Antony and Cassius Dio's Roman History. These sources paint Cleopatra as a seductress, manipulative and cold-hearted. According to Plutarch, she used her wiles to entrap both Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, exploiting their infatuation with her to advance her own interests. However, these characterizations may have been propaganda, aimed at justifying Octavian's conquest of Egypt. Surviving evidence from Cleopatra's own time, such as coins, inscriptions, and temple decrees, shows a different picture. It suggests that she was a shrewd and capable ruler who helped stabilize Egypt's economy and restore its cultural vibrancy. She wasn't perfect, however. When she attempted to assert her authority over the priesthoods, she met with resistance. This led to the Alexandrian Revolt, which, though eventually put down, highlighted the complexities of her reign. We have to look no further than her tomb, or rather the lack thereof. Despite being one of the most famous rulers in history, virtually nothing remains of her final resting place. No grand monuments, no hidden chambers, not even any clear idea of where she might be buried. This isn't surprising. Most Egyptian tombs were built for pharaohs, whose bodies were mummified and placed in underground crypts or hidden away in secret chambers. Given that Cleopatra identified herself as a pharaoh, it seems likely that she would have wanted a similar send-off. But her untimely demise brought an abrupt end to those plans. Instead of finding peace in an eternal slumber, her body was likely thrown away, perhaps even dumped in a mass grave or lost forever in the sands of time. Cleopatra may have dreamed of leaving behind a legacy that would span millennia. But the truth is that her physical remains were probably lost to history, leaving us with more questions than answers about her final moments and final resting place. Cleopatra was born in 69 BCE and was the daughter of Ptolemaic Kingdom. She inherited the throne at the age of 14 after the death of her father. He left the kingdom in debt and in turmoil. Cleopatra worked hard to restore order and stability to Egypt. She was fluent in 9 languages, including Egyptian. She was well educated and had a deep knowledge of her kingdom's history and culture. She used this knowledge to good effect, presenting herself as a new Egyptian pharaoh, descended from the goddess Isis. She also issued reforms to improve the lives of ordinary Egyptians. She established grain colonies and built hospitals and public baths. Cleopatra's relationship with Rome was complex. On the one hand, she wanted to maintain Egypt's independence. On the other hand, she realized that Rome was a powerful force that she couldn't afford to ignore. She played both sides carefully, maintaining good relations with both Pompey and Caesar. When Caesar was assassinated, she switched sides and aligned herself with Mark Antony. Together, they formed a powerful triumvirate that ruled over 3/4 of the Mediterranean world. However, Cleopatra's relationship with Antony was doomed from the start. His wife, Octavia, hated Cleopatra and convinced Antony to break off their affair. In retaliation, Cleopatra and Antony declared war on Rome. The resulting conflict, known as the Alexandrian War, ended in defeat for Cleopatra and Antony. Both took their own lives rather than face capture by Octavian. Cleopatra's suicide is one of the most famous stories in history. According to Plutarch, she allowed an asp to bite her as she reclined on a golden couch. Other sources say that she poisoned herself by drinking a vial of deadly nightshade. Whatever the truth, Cleopatra's death marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and the beginning of Roman rule in Egypt. It's easy to understand why Cleopatra's story has captured our imaginations for so many centuries. She was a strong, intelligent woman who lived in a man's world. She was also a victim of circumstance. Her relationship with Antony was doomed from the start, and she was ultimately betrayed by the man she loved. We can't help but root for her, even though we know how the story ends. Cleopatra's story has been told and retold countless times. She's been portrayed by some of the greatest actors of all time, including Elizabeth Taylor, who won an Oscar for her portrayal of the Queen in the 1963 film Cleopatra. There have been dozens of books and articles written about her, and she continues to appear in popular culture, most recently in the TV show Vikings. There are so many stories about Cleopatra because she is a fascinating figure. She was a strong, intelligent woman who lived in a man's world. She was also a victim of circumstance. Her relationship with Antony was doomed from the start, and she was ultimately betrayed by the man she loved. We can't help but root for her, even though we know how the story ends. Cleopatra's legacy is a complicated one. She is remembered as a great beauty, but this reputation is largely based on Roman propaganda. Her true strengths were her intelligence and her political skills. She was a shrewd diplomat and a master manipulator. She knew how to play the game of politics, and she was willing to use any means necessary to achieve her goals. This is evident in the way she managed to stay alive for so long in a world dominated by men. She was also a patron of the arts and a great lover of learning. She founded the Museum of Alexandria, one of the greatest libraries of the ancient world. She was also a patron of the arts and sciences, and she hosted the most brilliant minds of her day at her court. There are so many reasons why Cleopatra continues to fascinate us today. She was a strong, intelligent woman who lived in a man's world. She was also a victim of circumstance. Her relationship with Antony was doomed from the start, and she was ultimately betrayed by the man she loved. We can't help but root for her, even though we know how the story ends. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to learn more about amazing topics like this one, subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. See you next time.